Hi guys, welcome back to the channel for Fight Night Live, where where me and my brother Ollie are going to verbally fight it out and work out potentially who, or not who's better, but what's better.
And who's better.
Cottage or tropical.
Also,
now,
who's got the biggest pencil?
Well, you have tonight. Yeah. Why is it so long?
No idea.
Anyway, yeah, so obviously if you've watched back on other podcasts, I garden tropical style, Ollie gardens cottage style. Going through the years and going back through the years rather, there's always been this versus between the two of us, and we just can't seem to agree. So we thought it'd be a good idea to note down our plus points on each side and try and come to some sort of agreement. Or
there'll be no agreement. I don't think there'll be any agreement.
No, you're probably right. How would you word it?
Middle ground.
Okay. Compromise would be a good way of putting it. Yeah. As to what's better and what's potentially worth more. All right.
Yeah.
So we've listed down our points. Yours is. It looks like you've got about 4 there. So
double page, mate.
Double page.
Double page. Actually, you can only see one page on yours. So
I must warn you though, I've come into this like William Wallace with nunchucks.
William Wallace with nunchucks.
More
like Wallace and Gromit.
But I'm ready for this, all right?
Right, so you can start then. Point number 1.
I always start. You start.
All right, fair enough. I was gonna say something, but I think we could meet on middle ground straight away. So I'm gonna leave that till last.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Actually, we'll do a tally. So in the bottom of the screen.
All right, okay.
We do a score.
Point system.
Yeah. And if we agree on something, then neither of us score. But if there's a definitive winner in that discussion, then we get a point. All right, and we'll see who comes out on top.
All right, I'm going to start with a guaranteed point then. The romantic side of cottage gardening, you cannot come close to it with tropical. You just can't. So when you think of quintessentially British gardens, you think cottage garden, veg mixed with beautiful flowers, the fragrance, the romance, the picnic blankets on the grass.
Didn't see this one coming.
The brick paths around it. You cannot compete with that with tropical gardening.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't think tropical. I mean, there is a certain romance, and you know what it's like when I go up to my jungle at night time and it's lit and it's beautiful, it's stunning. But like you say, the quintessential English or British country garden.
I can smell it now, and I can see the hamper with the picnic. You know where you get the plate stuck to the top of the lid of the hamper of the picnic. You know that sort of thing.
It just wants me to.
Anyway, tick number 1.
Take an antihistamine. Just pollen galore, isn't it?
You are anti.
But yeah, I'll give you that one. To be fair.
Nice.
Right. In retaliation, 1-0. In retaliation to that, I think I'm going to start with. It takes you somewhere. Abroad, somewhere to a different country. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're doing the Mediterranean style, kind of subtropical, or whether you're going full tropical, where you're overwintering bits and things like that, with collocages that need to come in and get dug up. I think you know what it's like when you visit my garden. It literally does feel like you're somewhere else in the world, isn't it? Fully immersed in the tropics.
Yeah.
You don't get that with.
It does, but it doesn't literally
you don't get that with daisies.
It doesn't literally take you somewhere else. You've created an incredible garden, and all due respect, right? But it is in Dover. It doesn't literally take you somewhere else. And when I walk out, I see Dover. I don't walk out your garden thinking.
But when you're in the garden, we're not talking about out the garden. We're talking about in the garden. When you're sat in that garden and you look around, especially that day it was raining, absolutely hammering down in that rainforest garden.
Yeah.
It felt
the first
like
podcast we did, when we sat
I think so. Yeah, you're right.
Actually.
Yeah, because we was having trouble with the sound. Anyway, back to my point because I need a point.
Back to podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Anyway,
sorry. Subscribe. Yeah, I mean, even you agreed that it was like you could be in the middle of a real jungle.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And you don't get that sat in a field of corn.
My garden's not a field of corn. It won't ever be a field of corn.
I think you need to agree. I think that's 1-0. I think you lot agree as well.
We're going for big hitters straight away to get our points in the bag, I think.
I've kept my big hitters till last.
All right, okay.
Right.
You could come back on this, and I'm sure you will. But in terms of, I mean, this is a broad spectrum of gardens anyway. But I think being in Britain, having a British cottage-style garden, and I'm just going to go for it, nature.
Yep.
The amount of nature we get in the garden from birds, bees, butterflies, amphibians, all that kind of stuff that comes into the garden because I've created
I've got
somewhere
parrots.
for them to be.
I've got parrots.
Plastic ones, yeah. But the amount of wildlife that I've got coming into my garden because I've put the wildlife ponds there. Yes, you've got them as well.
Yeah.
But I've got the wildlife ponds there. I've got 4 now. We've got the colour and the fragrance that attracts the birds, the bees, the butterflies during the summer months. The pollinators, the planting that you put into a cottage garden. So much of it is natural pollination for those insects and birds and bees and stuff. So I think in this country where we are now, in terms of nature, it is absolutely stonewall brilliant for nature.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Regarding the tropical side, there's not, or I don't garden with flowers specifically. It's all foliage sizes and shapes, colours and textures when you're trying to pull off a rainforest garden. Yes, you do have little flowers, and they are little dainty ones here and there for little pops of colour. But yeah, I think the flying pollinators, the bees and the insects and things like that, I think you're right, cottage gardening would win it. But regarding the amphibians, the slow worms, we've had various moths.
Yeah,
We've had, I think, a real mix of, and we do get birds and all
stuff,
sorts of things. There's, there's 3 or 4 different resident birds that actually take, if they don't nest in the garden, you can see them taking grapes in the in the late summer and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think, it is great for wildlife, 100%. So
yeah,
I think that's probably cancelled that out.
probably cancelled out. Point each.
Fair enough.
Point
This is
each.
going well, isn't it? We haven't ripped
is.
each other's heads off yet.
You're next.
My next. Okay. The speed in which jungle gardens come together, the tropical plants grow. We get a good summer, or even a normal summer.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've grown the Insete and the Tetrapanics this year as well, how quickly they size up.
Yeah.
Now, I think within 2 to 3 years, and my garden proved that, you can have a canopy,
Yeah.
you can have huge specimen-sized plants, and your garden can look almost finished within the space of 2 or 3 years. And I don't think, some cottage plants, you've got to wait 2 or 3 years for them to flower. They're biennial, some are triennial. What's the point in planting something?
I agree with you in respect of this, the size of the foliage, the canopy that you get, and all that kind of stuff.
And the rate of growth.
The rate of growth.
Yep.
Yeah, but also that you can throw together if you use annuals as from seed and you do it yourself and perennials as well. You're gonna if from February, March onwards, you can get trays and trays and trays of seeds going of cottage plants, pollinating plants in your ground for spring, summer, and as long as you've got the structure in place, like your brick paths and your wildlife ponds and stuff.
Do you think you'd have the same impact in 2 years with seed planted cottage flowers and plants as I would with my colocasias, tetrapanics?
No, not in terms of size and height of.
Another point for me. I'm going to put it right here. Or here, I might do the tally here actually.
Okay, really, if you want.
I'm going to need a lot of space, so it's probably going to be better above my head because there's going to be more points flying in. You don't need so much space.
Sorry, all I heard is blah, 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 blah. Right, okay, so I'm going to go for...
2-1.
Should I go for next? 2-1?
Yeah, because we agreed on the
3-2, because we've got a point each for that. Thank you.
No.
3-2, yeah. I got a point for
Your count was
romantic.
right. Yeah.
I got a point for nature, so did you.
No, we agreed with that, so we don't
did you.
get points.
A point each, isn't it?
No, it cancels each other
All
out.
right, fair enough. 2-1.
Otherwise, we're going to run out of tally board
All right,
space.
2-1. Here we go, 2-2.
All right, go on.
All right, fragrance. You can't tell me that you walk into a cottage garden and you don't love the smell of the lavender that hits you when you walk in.
Have you not smelled
all the different
Have you not
pollinating
smelled
plants?
voodoo lily in
No, it literally stinks. It's one that smells of a dead man's coffin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not great. It's called corpse lily, isn't it? Or
corpse lily, that's the one.
flower.
Dead man's coffin, same thing, isn't it?
I'll give you that one.
The fragrance you get from a cottage garden, you wouldn't get in a tropical garden.
No.
There's no. I mean,
you don't get hay fever in a jungle garden.
You don't get a point for that. I'll have a point for fragrance. Thank you
can
very
have a point
much.
for fragrance. I'll give you that.
You can also make lavender pillows, which you can't do from a tropical garden. Can I have a point for that?
There'll be something that you can do that I can, but I have no. You can have a point for that. That is just.
I'll
silly.
have a point
Right, 2-2. I like to, and we've discussed this in other podcasts as well. In the summer months, I like to use my house plants in the jungle garden. So for adding effects, and it really gives that tropical finish to it. Which leads me on. So at the end of the summer, when everything's dying back, and we're getting ready to come indoors for the winter, you've got nothing much to do for 3-4 months, have you? I've got all my houseplants to tend to, so it's kind of a year-round, 12-month thing, and it never stops. So that for me, I think, with the winter interest as well. I know there's winter interest in both gardens, but I think with the tropicals, you've got houseplants and outside plants if you play it right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that's
I would agree.
That's got to be a positive. It's a positive for me.
If you're keeping houseplant, you can't. There's not really houseplants that would go in a cottage.
You've got cut flowers,
really. Yeah,
but not
year-round houseplants that you can.
No.
Yeah, bring out to you. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah.
Cool.
Which brings me on to maintenance, and cottage gardening is very much, I would say, lower maintenance than tropical gardening.
It's a scruffy style of.
It is I wouldn't say scruffy. I'd say relaxed.
Okay.
I'd say it's a very relaxed style, or can be. I would say so. For instance, my brick borders, I can allow things from the borders to overgrow the bricks, which is what I want to happen. I don't have to cut back, be prim and proper. Not that tropical garden is, but cottage gardening is very, very much a relaxed.
If you're talking about my garden, it's very lazy. I let the moss grow. I let things grow over where they shouldn't. I like fighting through the foliage and everything like that. But in respect
to that jungle.
Yeah, in respects to a pruned tropical garden where it's very flamboyant and straight lined, and your beds are your beds and your lawn is your lawn. Yeah,
that's a lot of what I see. UK tropical gardening.
Yeah,
yours isn't like that, but a lot of the UK tropical gardening Facebook pages and stuff like that, I see prim and proper, like you said, bananas in one border, cannas in another border, your lily, whatever it might be, your palm in one corner, palm in another corner, perfectly.
AstroTurf.
Don't get started on that.
Stop it. Grow a lawn.
Anyway, as I was saying, maintenance with regards to like self-seeding, so you're not going to have self-seeding forget-me-nots, etc., that will scatter themselves, be relaxed wherever they want to go. They look great. That doesn't happen in tropical gardening.
And also the tropical, this is a downside as well, the maintenance and overwintering of a lot of things, which you don't get with the cottage.
No,
I have to dig up.
The two things I had to take up, he did for me anyway. So
yeah, they're stored at mine, aren't they? But there's a lot of things, if you want them the next year, or you want to guarantee them surviving the winters in the UK, they do have to come inside, which is, I enjoy it, but it is a pain.
I've lost track of score, but we'll put it here now.
You can have another one. I think it's 3-3.
3-3. All right, we'll put it here now.
Right, we'll put it somewhere on the screen.
My giant pencil just come in.
I might even do an elaborate design.
What? But right.
I don't know.
You've got space on your side over there, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I need it for the points.
3-3, you reckon? Yeah. Right, you'll go.
Right, I've done the house plants. Right, I'm going to pull out some big gun ones here. Can you imagine David Attenborough?
Here we go. Here we go.
Can you imagine David Attenborough, or one of the Nat Geo or documentary big guns, sat there next to like a Michaelmas Daisy going, here we have a cottage garden?
Yeah, 100%.
No, he wouldn't.
I've heard him do it.
He wouldn't do it, and he doesn't do it. I don't think he does anyway. Which brings me on to the fact that most...
What's that got to do with this?
Listen, most documentaries that are filmed and put on TV...
What has that got to do with our gardens?
Nothing. Wait for my point. Are filmed in rainforests and the tropics, aren't they? Would you watch a documentary? You probably would. Would you watch a documentary about David Attenborough in a cottage garden?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I wouldn't. But my point is, most... I don't know what my point is.
You've got no point. You've wasted your go. You've literally wasted your go. You can't have a point for that. Would David Attenborough be in a cottage garden? You can't have you cannot have a point for that.
David Attenborough prefers the tropics.
I would imagine David Attenborough, at 98 years old, is sat in his beautiful tropical garden. Cottage garden.
You're probably right.
No, definitely not. You don't have a point for that. Right. Definitely not. Definitely not.
But I'm right though, aren't I?
Right, I am going to go with...
Say I'm right.
A cottage garden can work in all sizes, whether you've got a postage stamp garden, a balcony, a massive country-style garden with acres and acres of land, purely because you can do it. So, say, for example, tiny postage stamp garden, one of the new build properties, not much there in terms of scale.
Now,
you can make that garden look insane.
I'm going to pull you up on this
months from seed.
It was only 2 podcasts ago that it might have even been the last one, that you said that the big, impactful, big foliaged plants can make a garden look bigger.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, I agree. So yes, you can make a postage stamp garden look bigger by using tropical big leaves, big palms, etc., etc. But you cannot tell me anyone's got the funds to do 3 acres worth of tropical planting like you could do almost overnight with seeding and self-seeding like a cottage garden style.
You couldn't overwinter 3 acres.
No, you couldn't. So hands down,
unless there's a team of
so
you.
if you're lucky enough to have a 3 or 4 acre garden, right,
and a team
you could make that an amazing
volunteers.
cottage style garden almost overnight with relation to how you can't do it with tropical style. Definitely not. Thank you.
Okay.
4-3.
4-3, right. I need a comeback. I need a comeback here, don't I? Okay, how about this then?
That was bloody brilliant.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Yeah. The tropical rainforests are the lungs of the world. If we didn't have the tropics, the planet wouldn't exist. But they would exist if there wasn't cottage gardens. It's fact. It's a fact.
What about the bees?
Yeah, but no.
Do you get bees in rainforests?
No, this is tip for
tat.
Do
you get bees in rainforests?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Big ones. Big ones that probably kill you. So, yeah, I think the tropics, and everybody knows how important the rainforests are.
What's that got to do with your garden?
Because it keeps the planet...
What, your garden?
No, it's not. This isn't about...
Is the lungs for the planet?
This isn't about all of our gardens. You haven't got a 4 acre garden. Are the tropics the lungs of the planet? They are, aren't they?
Yes.
The rainforests.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
You can't...
Okay. To me, that's not a point. But if you're going to put it on there, you're going to put it on there.
I'm definitely going to put that on there. Because without the tropical rainforests, the planet wouldn't exist.
All right, okay.
But they would without your little gardens.
Fair enough. Right, I'm going to go
I think, to be fair, my mates at the WWF would massively agree with me.
Because they're your mates at the WWF. My mates at the Cottage Garden Association.
I've got an army that will agree with me.
Okay, we're going to go for a big gun here. Guaranteed point, colour. Absolutely, hands down, cottage gardening would win colour.
Yeah.
Every colour on a spectrum you can get with seed, with perennials, anything to do with cottage gardening. It is all about fragrance and colour, and you wouldn't get that in...
You've done fragrance. Here you go with colour.
Colour, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously,
5-4?
Yeah, you can have colour in tropical gardens. There's a ton of beautiful colours and things, but I think as a whole, yeah, there's a lot more foliage than there is flower in tropical gardening. So, yeah, I'll let you have that. All right, 5-4 to you then. Okay. Rainforests and the tropical species support the most animal life on the planet.
Oh, here we go. You're going global again.
Yeah, I have to. True.
Is that true?
Yeah, massively.
Compared to cottage gardens?
I've looked it up, otherwise I'd have nothing, yeah.
Oh, you've been Googling?
You've got to
Google. Off the top of my head.
You've got to do your homework. You've got to do your homework.
You get a point for that?
That was short and sweet. 5-5.
Oh, my God. All right, here we go. I'm running out of points here, to be fair. I've used all my big guns.
I've got 2 more, and
okay.
This should clinch.
5-5.
This should clinch it for me.
Okay. So I'm going for the combinations are absolutely endless with cottage gardening. And because it's such a relaxed approach to gardening, and this is a serious point, the combinations that you can use in cottage gardening are literally endless. For me, I've learned on the job, but every time I think I've done something not quite right, a month later, suddenly it will surprise me.
And look really wrong.
And actually, it looks fantastic because it is so vibrant in colour, the heights, the structure of everything's so different, and because it is such a relaxed approach to gardening, you can get it right.
I think that's because a lot of the cottage plants look like weeds. So if you get something wrong, it just looks like a weed.
Harsh. Yeah, you might have a point about weeds, but I mean, according to Cottage Gardeners Association of UK Britain,
who runs that? Yeah,
a weed is only a plant in the wrong place. So you.
Sorry. And I like to grow weeds. I like to grow weeds in my garden.
You've got no comeback on combinations are endless, have you? Because combinations aren't endless in.
Right. Okay. You can have that one. Okay.
6-5, I do believe.
So, and this is more Googling because I needed these. Most foods and materials, i.e. chocolate, comes from a tropical plant. Coffee comes from a tropical plant. Rubber comes from a tropical plant. And certain oils all come from tropical plants. So,
what about honey?
I don't need to...
Where's honey come from? Bees. Bees. And do you get bees in the jungle? Don't know, do you?
I think we must do. Right, I think that's just... That was an easy point. That's 6-0, yeah. Right, how many more you got? You got one more?
No, I've got about 4 or 5 here. I've used romantic. I've used...
I've got...
Have I used informal planting?
That's no, you can't have that as pants.
What?
Because I'll just come back and go, well,
Great for
mine's
nature.
informal as well. Can't have that.
All right, okay. We are in Great Britain, and although we have hundreds of, maybe about 10 followers across the world.
I haven't checked for a while. I don't know.
We are in the UK, and being in the UK means traditional British style cottage gardens are relevant and very important for
This was point one.
For our own ecosystems. Was it?
Yeah, you made
Surely
this,
not.
pretty much made this point.
Traditional British style, did I?
Yeah.
Romantic was point one. Thank you. The traditional British garden.
Said, quote,
and hang on. Wait there.
Quintessential British garden.
Wait there.
You're doubling up.
My point. My main point. No. My main point to do with traditional British style is, what's the word? Native planting is very, very important and crucial to our own British ecosystem.
A lot of them aren't native. They come from Americas, South America, South Africa,
etc. But what I'm talking about, native British planting, vegetable planting, all
is
that
important
stuff
to our
is
ecosystem.
very important to our ecosystem.
I'll
Yeah,
help you out
100%.
with that one. All right.
Okay.
I can have a point for that because I finished it off here.
All right, 7-all.
No, it's 7-6.
7-6 to me.
Yeah. This
on
is my last point. I've got no more notes. So I'm hoping I can. Well, I hope you'll agree that this is a valid point. Medicines. Now, over a quarter of today's medicines come from the rainforests.
Going global again.
Well, yeah, it's tropical planting. Tropical plants.
What? So you
that's what I grow.
Do you pop out to your palm tree and grab a paracetamol if you got a headache?
No, but you do. Yeah, medicines. I think that's a really important point as well.
Right,
I don't think people realise. And I didn't realise over a quarter of today's medicines are from the tropics, which is insane.
You can also get medicine from daffodils. So I'm not sure if you're aware of that. But there's a lot of research going into daffodils and different varieties.
Does that mean they'll be cut earlier and there'll be less of them?
So I don't know if you get a point for that or not really.
I think I do. Must do. Global medication.
Okay, so what's the score? 7.
That's 7-all.
7-all. Okay, my final point, and I've left the big one till last, is obviously cottage gardening originated from having the need to grow food, and food to be able to feed yourself and be self-sustainable in a cottage garden environment. This day and age is so important with the cost of living, the cost of food going up through the roof. You go out to your garden and you can pick your spinach, your lettuce, your carrots. It'll also look beautiful as well. You can grow your tomatoes amongst your perennials or your annuals, and the colour and the smell and the food is there when you go out there.
Before you think you've run this,
say no.
My point before the medicine one was foods.
You can't grow bananas on your banana trees in this country. It doesn't happen. Your lemon trees don't.
If you check back on my
video, grapes are as sour as anything.
Check back on my video. They're not tropical. Check back on my video of Mark, and you will see that you can grow bananas in the UK. You can. They might be small.
Big.
They might be small, but it's a banana.
You cannot say that's self-sustainable.
No, it's not.
You cannot be sustainable on a mini banana plant.
I've written down here and I've crossed it out because I've not even put it. What's your favourite fruit?
My favourite fruit? Probably banana, to be fair.
That cancels out that point completely. I think we're just going to have to agree. And
we can't agree to disagree.
You know what? When I was writing this down, I was almost certain that I'd win this, hands down, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 3.
But I won 8-7.
No, it's 7-all.
That's a food and being sustainable.
I've done food, so that counteracts yours.
Where's your food? What
says
food?
There, food?
Banana.
Look, chocolate. Bananas, for example.
No, that's global. I'm talking about being. My point isn't food. I changed my point.
Self-sustaining food.
It's self-sustainable. To be sustainable from your own back garden, you cannot do in a tropical garden.
Not with tropical plants.
Not with tropical plants. Not with tropical gardens. You can be self-sustainable in a cottage garden environment.
Kiwis.
100% you can. Hands down, 8-7. You even Googled it, so minus a point for that. This is self-sustainable writing.
We'll let them figure it out. But I think, to summarise, I think he's had enough. Don't break your pencil. I think to summarise, I think both are really important. And whatever you grow, tropical style or native cottage garden plants, I think they are both as important as each other. And I think the main thing is, as long as you're having fun and your garden is looking how you want it to look, that's probably the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
we have a lot of fun doing both, don't we?
Yeah, and like all jokes aside, I've got parts of.
I wasn't joking.
Some jokes aside, I've got a tetrapanax, which I'm really excited about this year. You're going to be growing veg this year in your front garden, I believe. So we are starting to sort of combine the two, as much as it is a versus, and we do battle. And I think in our hearts, I'm cottage and he's tropical.
There are a few that you just can't say no to.
There are things that will cross over, like salvia. That goes great in both, for example. You know what I mean? There's loads of stuff that you can cross over. So as much as we do fight it out sometimes about what's best, you can cross over. And like you said, as long as you're enjoying it, having fun, learning on the job, making mistakes, maybe not even learning from them, but just giving it a go is the most important thing, isn't it?
Certainly is, mate. Yep, you couldn't have put it better. I couldn't have put it better myself.
Sweet.
We'll
say
on
goodbyes?
that note, yeah, we'll say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if it's going to make a video. We might rabbit on too long, and it might get a little bit too heated in points. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later. Bye.